The site I chose to discuss the validity and reliability about regarding the Think Aloud evaluation is the martinlutherking.org site. On this site, we find that the very first look of it and feel of it seems quite reliable, especially to a student. When a student looks at it, they see that it says, "Attention students, try our MLK pop quiz." We scroll down. We see Martin Luther King's picture underneath. And if we look real close, not very closely, we see, oh, there's a quote from someone. That sounds important. We see that there's an educational video. We see that there are some information about Kwanzaa. Scroll down, and it says, "Bring the dream to life in your town." We can download flyers to pass out at school. Sounds educational. A civil rights library. Sure, we'll learn some interesting facts there. Scroll down a little further, and we see stormfront.org here, and we also see it's hosted by Stormfront. As Mary B. Eagleton and Elizabeth Dobler explained in Reading the Web, Strategies for Internet Inquiry, determining who wrote information on a website may be one of the most important factors in assessing truthfulness. Typically, the host is identified on the home page in a banner across the top of the screen or in an opening or welcoming statement. We don't see that here. There's no banner on the top of the screen saying that stormfront.org is doing this. And even up here, we can check out the URL. And as Alan November explained in Web Literacy for Educators, in many ways, selecting a domain name is a way for website owners to advertise, but for others, it's a way to manipulate and draw you in. For example, the web address, www.martinlutherking.org, is not owned by a nonprofit group called the Martin Luther King Organization, as we might think. It's actually owned by Stormfront. And when we click this link, look what we see. White Pride Worldwide, Stormfront.org. Do we really want our students going to a page like this? We scroll down further, and there is just so much information, comments, one-sided, and open forums where students can learn information that we may not want them to learn, and that may not be reliable. So aside from the fact that the authority of this website is inaccurate and biased, if we click here, back to our site, and continue to evaluate it, we see that the objectivity involves portraying all sides of an issue fairly without bias or opinion. Internet readers can tell when a website is biased by identifying propaganda, untrue information, or strong opinions. And we find a lot of strong opinions on this site. If we look a little further into this site, on the left side, the quote, "That night King retired to his room at the Willard Hotel. There, FBI bugs reportedly picked up 14 hours of party chatter, the clinking of glasses, and the sound of illicit sex." Wow. Don't want elementary students countering that, including King's cries of, "I'm for God and I'm not a Negro tonight." Wow. This is definitely something that we don't want our students to encounter when they're researching. We click down here, watch the new Martin Luther King educational video.
When the communists took over a country, one of the first things that they did was to confiscate all the privately held weapons. But even more insidious than the theft of the people's weapons was the theft of their history. Official communist historians rewrote history
this movie that they're showing is completely biased. It's somebody's opinion. It's somebody's point of view. Yet they explain that this is an educational video. Just not so. It's just not. We go back here. This one I was completely appalled by. Bring the dream to life in your town. Download flyers to pass out at your school. This kind of goes along with the propaganda on the site. Click here, and it asks you to download or pass out flyers. These flyers, when you actually click them, the PDF version, Bring the Dream to Life, is really not a positive. It sounds positive, but when we click it, it really isn't. And it actually suggests on this site, this is the time of year many students are asked to write reports about Martin Luther King's Civil Rights Movement. Print out these flyers and pass them around your school. There are 4 flyers per sheet and include our website information. So they're actually encouraging the students to pass out these flyers about an opinion that may not even be their own. That is quite scary. Again, we want to look at also the timeliness of this site. I can't find anywhere on this site, as I scroll it, anywhere that mentions when this site was last updated. And the websites are able to present information that is up to date because it's so easy to post updated material. Credible websites usually contain a footer that shows the date on which the site was created or last updated. We go to the footer, we don't see a thing. Let's take a look at the Civil Rights Library. Another part of evaluating information within a website is making a determination as to whether the website is user-friendly by determining the ease of access to information within the site through the use of a sitemap or electronic table of contents. We don't really see that on this site. Sometimes at the bottom there'll be a type of sitemap where we can go back and forth from home and whatnot. I don't really see that here, but one of the big indicators that lets me know that this information may be inaccurate or the website might not be as high-tech as we thought it would be or valid is the fact of checking for hyperlinks that are intact and operable. The very first link, historical writings, if I click that, here we go. Oops, this link appears to be broken. That's not so good on a site that apparently this is the very first link. Doesn't look good for this site. So, upon reflecting on this, I really see the value that if we as learners, we gave every bit of information we encountered equal consideration, we would drown in a sea of thoughts and ideas. And evaluation helps us to prioritize our time, energy, and money as we strive to make the most informed decision possible when seeking the value or judging the worth of an object or idea, as Eagleton and Dobler mentioned in Reading the Web. We must teach students to think critically about what they see and hear and to ask questions of themselves and others as they seek to validate new ideas. I think this site made me realize how necessary it is before we send our students researching on the internet to make them aware of these sites that are just untrue, they're not reliable, they're not valid, and actually inappropriate for our students to be accessing.